TV's Corner. And in this program, usually we return to the major happenings in the Southern Cameroon's revolution, and we also analyze upcoming events. We look at the way activists have been faring within the past week. And in today's edition, we are privileged to have two guests with whom we are going to discuss the U.S. Department of State's Human Rights Report about Cameroon for 2018. We're going to touch the Undersecretary for Africa from the U.S., Thibault Nagi's visit to Cameroon, the happenings on Ground Zero will, of course, be part of Amino in today's edition of the program. We're going to touch upcoming events, notably the All Southern Cameroon's People Conference and the Ambazonia Stakeholder Strategic Conference built for the US of A and Berlin in Germany, respectively. Make yourself comfortable. It's time for me to welcome my guests. The first is Comrade Achiri Atanga. He's a well-known activist. Welcome to join us, Comrade Achiri Atanga.
The pleasure is all mine, Mr. Solomon Amabo, and Chairman for the Southern Cameroon Activist Front. Thank you. It's a big pleasure to speak to Ambazonians today and to share the little I know about the topics that you have raised. What a wonderful week and what a wonderful time we're going to have together. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Comrade Achiri. We equally have Paul Nillong. He's the spokesperson for Meme County, reporting on what is happening in Meme County Southern Zone. Welcome to join us, Paul.
It's my delight, Chairman. It's my pleasure. I am speechless today. It's my first appearance on ABC. It's an honor for me to be invited as an activist, and I want to stand in a very special way. First, Secretary Christ for this initiative, and I think I'm going to share the bit I know on the topic you have raised, and also on other relevant issues concerning the struggle. Thank you, Chairman.
It's a pleasure having you, gentlemen. You are both activists, and just to indicate that we'll be like to having people from different shades of opinion on board to discuss key issues on the human rights of Southern Cameroonians being violated, and also making sure we look at the positive things that keeps this existentialist struggle, as I often put it, moving forward. So you are activists. How do you appreciate the work of activists for the week just gone by? What do you think they've been doing positively about the happenings on Ground Zero and in the diaspora? I wish Paul Nillong will speak first.
Yeah, for the week, you see, activism, it's all about giving the right information. It's all about passing the right information from your conscience. And Southern Cameroon's, the activist front, SCAF, for the past week have been doing great in enlightening, in giving out the right information. We know in the struggle with a lot of division, in the struggle, we have a lot of misconception, we have a lot of evil theories, we have a lot of make-up. It's like a movie. And it is the duty and the responsibility of every activist to give out the right information. Because each information you give out either carries the struggle ahead or brings the struggle behind. And for the past week, we have seen activists going out on air. We have seen, for example, Chris J.K. He's there. He has been going out live all this while, updating us, updating the people on Ground Zero, updating the diaspora on what is happening. We can see right up, intelligent right up. And I think yesterday we had Ray Tima, who is a power in the Southern Cameroon, in the SCAF forum. He's one of the bones to contend with. He was with the Punchline Television yesterday, giving out vital and valuable information. I think so far, SCAF has been doing great. So far, SCAF has been on the position to tell the people the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Now, Comrade Achiri, Paul is painting a positive picture there about activists, but without getting into the blame game, people are pointing accusing fingers at activists too for being somewhat divisive and causing a lot of damage to the struggle. What do you make of that, Comrade Achiri Atanga?
Yeah, before I answer that question, Solomon, what I want to say is that I always describe activists as the life wire of this revolution. And without them, many people will not even know what is happening. First of all, the activists, they keep the debate on the revolution going. They inform us in one way or the other, or we inform each other on one thing or the other. I don't want to pin down activists' name here and calling names on who is doing what or who is not doing what. But what I want to say is that each time we have meetings as activists, I always say that always evaluate yourself in a week and see that we have a bigger picture. What is dividing us, I mean, is smaller than what can unite us. What is uniting us is more than Ambazonia. Ambazonia is bigger than my individual opinion. So when I see activists, instead of attacking the elephant, they keep on attacking each other. I just feel like, what is happening? Are we losing it? Are we really losing it? Are we really for the struggle? And that's why I always say that activists should always question themselves each week, make an agenda to follow up what is happening on the ground, and then communicate to the people. Everybody has a follower or a following. So if you have following, it is your opinion, it's your responsibility to educate them with true information rather than giving misinformation to the people. Remember, if we misinform the people, we are killing the struggle. We are shooting the struggle on the leg. That's the very first thing that I like to tell my fellow activists. And then the second thing I like to tell the audience, and especially our followers to understand, is that the job of an activist is very, very difficult. I want to be very frank with you. Why do I say it's difficult? I say it's difficult because today, if you see an activist writing something that favors you, the follower, you want to appreciate that activist. You want to, I mean, throw all your flowers to the activist. You want to say all good things to the activist. But the day that activist maybe has another opinion on something that you carry in your mind, you want to crucify that activist. So that's why I say the job of an activist is very difficult. But that notwithstanding, I really don't want to appreciate the fact that us activists, or some of us activists, we are in the business of attacking leaders. We are in the business of attacking each other. We are in the business of downgrading each other. And we think that when we downgrade each other, the group that we support is going to thrive. Please, I want to use this opportunity to say that, please, if that is what we have been doing, maybe I'm also guilty of it, let us come back to our senses to think that we are in a crucial point in our history. We are in a crucial position where our people are dying. People are in the bushes. Instead of us trying to raise awareness of this thing, telling the international community what our people are going through, we keep on fighting each other as activists. That is not helpful for the revolution. So
that is not helpful.
I've answered your question about that.
Maybe is Achiri, even though I lost from where he said we should not only look at the negative side of people, but also look at the positive contribution
of course.
in this particular struggle. Now, on to the issues that made news within the week. We had a human rights report from the U.S. Department of State, the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor. How did you get the report, Comrade Achiri? What is your global view of the report on rights situation in Cameroon?
Well, how I got the report is, I don't know how to put it, but I think it was sent to me by Comrade Mark Barretta, or if I'm not mistaken, or one other comrade in the US. And I had time, it's a 46-page document. And
you're feeling about the report?
Huh?
I was trying to indicate that your first reaction when you got the report is what I was trying to ask.
Yeah, my first reaction was, oh, finally the US is now like understanding what we are going through. I was very, I mean, though I can't say I was happy, but I was emotional to see that the problems that we have been raising is actually getting some sort of a global attention. When the US writes something like that, it's an official document that goes to the gazettes of the US, that is shared the whole world. The US also equally has partners that they share such things with. It doesn't only end within the US. They have partners. And I mean, they take it to the UN as well. They take it to the UN Security Council, and they take these things very serious. So I was happy that finally, what we have been crying, what we have been telling the world, we thought that our cries are not being followed. We thought that they're not hearing us, or they're neglecting us, the things that we are raising, or we have been raising. And so when I saw this document, I started reading and sharing it with other friends. The first thing was, yes, finally we are gradually getting to where we have what we have been saying. Our cries have been heard. People are following up what we are saying. And it's also to, let me emphasize this fact, that we should understand that the US equally has eyes all over the world. They have their representatives on ground zero, maybe through the ambassador or the embassy in Yaoundé, or they have people on ground zero following up what is happening and giving them report on a daily basis. So that was how I felt about the document.
Did Paul have the same feeling about the particular document? And if you notice, in some instances, the US Department of State, the Bureau for Democracy equally blame Southern Cameroonians for equally being responsible, so to put it, for some human rights violation. Did you have the same feeling like what Comrade Achiri is trying to express here, Comrade Paul?
Yeah, what do you expect? Any clear human rights document during war must involve the two parties. It must not only be one-sided. I was very, very happy, extremely happy, because now we got the international consent, not only on words, but on paper, written down. That particular document will go into history. That maybe it is the stepping stone for America's intervention. And you know, America has a little bit of concern this hour. The world is looking at America with a different face. The way it has been blowing against human rights organizations, telling them you are not up to date, you are not up to standard. So with this, it will give this Amazonia a standpoint. It will make everybody will want to say that what is happening. I think we need to take this thing serious. If America has come down, if Donald Trump has put it on paper, it means all the tweets, all the documents written, all the petitions written has not fallen on deaf ears. I think it's a way forward. It's a big push for this struggle. It's a big push that we all at this point must stand as one to do what? To give that particular document the push it deserves. One of the things is a document like this has come up. But if you go on, we all have failed. If you go on, we have not exploited that document. But all we know is to exploit the weakness of one another. But this is a document that needs every activist, be it from which camp, to exploit it, to tweet it, to make analysis on it. But what are we doing? We are there making analysis on unnecessary things. We are there fighting one another. So I think that we are putting a gap here. So I am calling on activists. Please, we need to exploit this document. The world needs to understand.
Let me come in here, Mr. Solomon. Let me add something on what Paul has just said, which is very, very important. And I want to swear on this to say that I want to say on my name that the activists who have not even read this document, maybe even half a page. The activists who maybe already heard about the document, and to them is nothing. What is important is the gossiping, as we call it in Amazonia, Congosa. The Congosa is more important than the official things that we are supposed to be following. That's why I once said that we focus more on petty things that divide us than the big things that unite us.
Now, so both of you are actually saying we need to exploit the document. That's the first thing. And secondly, we need to make the world to know that that document exists. And like Paul indicated, in a conflict or conflictual situation like what we're having today, it was just but normal that the US had to put some excesses of both the French Cameroon soldiers and the what the US State Department is calling the separatist fighters. Now, I went to the document and it said the socio-political conflict, we started in 2016, morphed into an armed conflict, and it cites a series of human rights violations by French Cameroon government. Security forces killed at least 7 persons who were intellectually and not mentally sound. It went to the case of Samsoya, cited a series of cases about the killing of foreign clergymen, like the priest from Kenya, the one from Ghana, and even the American missionary, from what we read in the document, forced disappearances. Now, looking at all this, one thing stands out in that document. They said some areas have been abandoned to the bill, the Bataillon de Défense Rapide of the Cameroon military, and the bill fall outside the purview of conventional forces. It seems the US is actually indicting the French Cameroon government of using forces which are disproportionate to maintaining law and order. Is that, or what do you think Southern Cameroon should do, or the different movements, to exploit this document concretely? How do you think they can exploit it as activists first and as different movements fighting for the liberation of Southern Cameroon, or the people of Southern Cameroon?
Well, Mr. Solomon, I'm not a legal mind, but I'm a historian, and I read a lot about different things. We're in modern day. And when we have such a document, we have such a great nation like America taking such a bold step, I think it comes back to us to say, what do we do about this? We have legal minds, we have professors, doctors, we have political scientists, we have everything that a society should have. What have we done? Which group has actually taken up itself or put behind or put aside a brain of legal minds to exploit these documents and see where we can get a loophole, how we can exploit it to our advantage? Can we use these documents to sue the Republic for human rights abuses in Amazonia? Have we exploited that? We have Amazonians in maybe all the continents in the world and in different countries. We know people here in South Africa, in Europe, and America. Can we drop these documents to the different embassies and accept them to sign that they have received this document from us? Because the greatest thing is that, okay, we never, it's an American issue. We've never seen this. What if Amazonians we, on the basis of this report, we want to deposit this report in all the embassies and all the UN offices where we live, so that we have copies with their signatures to say that one day they will never say that we didn't see this document. Give it to Commonwealth office in the UK. Our people in the United Kingdom should take these documents to the Commonwealth office, and maybe to at the foreign office there. And those in Europe, other countries like Belgium, Germany, this is what they should do. And maybe those who live in America, they should have these documents printed and take them to their senators and congressmen, place them, give it to them to read that this is what our people are going through. We have to exploit every nitty-gritty, every opportunity that we see to inform the world of what is happening. What about giving it to churches to read? We have people, we are Christians and Muslims. What about giving it to our pastors and imams to read? And then those who are on ground zero, I know it's very dangerous. I will not really want you to go public about this thing, because we want to safeguard life. It's very dangerous, because if the Republic knows that you are the one educating our people on such things, not everybody in ground zero follow the activists on Facebook. Some in the villages, they don't even have access to television. So what if the interim government, for example, or any other group, for instance, sponsor a project of summarizing this document or making audios about this document in our local languages and send them out on social media, so that our people back in our mothers, our sisters should know that this is what the world is talking about, our situation. That's what I think.
Thanks, Comrade Achiri. The document also says by June 2018, at least 84 uniform officers were killed, and there are other revelations like Cameroon having 79 operational prisons, and the document equally, the U.S. State Department's Human Rights Report equally decries the detention conditions, and they picked holes at one thing which the government did or is seemingly doing by arresting people and arbitrarily killing them, like in the case of Samsoya. Now, let me just ask this question to Comrade Paul. We see the U.S. writing about Cameroon, but Cameroon doesn't write about the U.S. Why are they so interested in what happens in Cameroon? It's just an open question, just like that. We don't have Cameroon's report about the U.S. They have a report about us. I'm just wondering, Paul, what do you make of that?
Who is the United States? He's just, the United States is like the world police. If we live in a society where we have check and balances, and when it comes to state, the United Nations has failed the world. You and I know that. The only person who polices the world now is the United States. And now, the United States doesn't have much in Africa, but it has something that is fighting against, which is terrorism. For example, we hear about Boko Haram. We hear the ISIS, they fight against the ISIS. But now in Africa, they focus on the Boko Haram. Now, Boko Haram affects Cameroon, La Republique, and Nigeria. America supports the La Republique military to combat Boko Haram. Now, America does not only end there, it must check the human rights records of where she is pumping money into, where she is pumping finances into. She must check their human rights record. Now, how do I bring it down to the Southern Cameroons? We realize that what America is pumping as finance to fight against terrorism, the government of Mr. Pobia is using it to fight armless civilians. It's using it to fight against a people fighting for their freedom and self-determination. So automatically it brings America into question. Because America, in principle, they will say is the one financing the lawlessness in the military of Mr. Biya. So she has to come in to check that I pump money into this thing, and we hear there is a lot, and we see it. So what is happening? So America's main concern is because she is one of the stakeholders in fighting terrorism up the north of La Republique.
Now, we went to bring on board subsequently legal minds to discuss about the U.S. Department of State Bureau for Democracy Human Rights report, which also spoke about Boko Haram, LGBT rights, among other issues. And on the sidelines of the report from the U.S. Department of State, we had the visit of the U.S. Undersecretary for African Affairs, Mr. Africa of the United States, Mr. Tibonagi visiting Cameroon, and lots of things were said about the visit before even the visit and even during the visit. What is the main message you pick from the visit of the U.S. Secretary or Undersecretary for African Affairs, Achiri? Basically his declaration shortly after meeting President Paul Biya.
Remember, before he went to Cameroon, he granted an interview over, I think it's RFI, the French international radio or something like that. And he said, among other things, that he thinks that Paul Biya is the most longest serving African president for now. And he compared him with Obiang of Equatorial Guinea. He made that statement. So this is a man who knows Africa to his fingertips. Of course, it's part of his job that he should know Africa. Now, what the message that came out of the visit, I'm not really interested in the gift, the so-called gift that he gave President Paul Biya after meeting him. Now, this is a man who went and receive a bronze gift from Colombia, which is current, and then in exchange gave the dictator, a picture of him and President Bush Sr. I think it was 1993 picture. That is 1991. To tell you, sorry.
1991.
It's a silent message to tell you that, oh, Mr. Man, you have been here for too long. From 1993, we have had how many presidents in America? We have had Clinton, we have had Bush, another Bush, we have had Obama, and then we are now having President Trump. And then you are still there as president of this country from 1993. It's a silent way of reminding him that, oh, look, you have overstayed your existence as a president of a nation. And then, of course, when he came out of the Unity Palace or out of the presidency and the journalists were interviewing him, they interviewed him, and the state broadcaster, CRTV, is telling Cameroonians something else. That they didn't discuss one or two things. But the gentleman, Mr. Thibault, went ahead to tweet. And this tweet, we have seen screenshots of this tweet. For those who don't follow Twitter, the American public is watching. Let me remind you that, like what Paul just said, there are stakeholders. People are watching, the investors who are watching on how to invest in Cameroon. How many people are going to invest in a war-torn country? How many people want to support a dictator? The same thing like America is fighting to install democracy in Venezuela today. The same thing that America should fight to install in Cameroon. You can't have a country of one man ruling a country from 1982. That's when I was born. To 2019. It's not a kingdom. So, he actually gave a message to him that, look, Mr. President, you have overstayed, you are welcome, and we think that it's time for you to quit the scene.
Now, a lot of things were happening within the context of the visit of the U.S. diplomat. Many people, if you go through social media, they were very bitter that he came. I don't know what they expected, or for him to say, Mr. Biya, you have to go, or you have to go and stop the war in southern Cameroon. And people picked holes too. They said, oh, he has received that statue again. And it looks as if, from perception, once you visit the Unity Palace, you are offered the statue as a gift, the bronze statue. As soon as you leave, you go and shut your mouth. And we don't know what is going to happen with Mr. Thibault. But the question I'm trying to ask Paul is, do you think after the visit of the U.S. Undersecretary of State for African Affairs, many things are going to happen thereafter? Maybe, since he said in his tweet that he spoke about an end to the conflict in the Northwest and Southwest, do you think we expect some rapid action on the part of the U.S. or from the international community?
Diplomacy is like a snail. It works like a snail. Diplomacy is never fast, and you will never know. Whoever knew that he will make Mr. Thibault will make such pronouncement before coming to visit the king, the Lion King of La République. Now, immediately after that statement he made, that he will carry this matter led to the international forum, that let this matter be brought to the international forum. Then he steps his feet into Cameroon. What next? He hands Mr. Emperor a picture of him and the 1991 president. Please, they say action speaks louder than word. We don't expect fast action. For me personally, I don't expect any fast action. He has gone into the lion's den. He has taken, he had a tete-a-tete with Mr. Biya. From there, he will make his judgment. Only in his presence, he is still alive. The state media is lying. You can imagine. The state media, he is still in Yaoundé. He has not left Yaoundé. The state media is telling you they spoke nothing. So, they don't know they are building their case file. It's like you are putting your wood, preparing your wood for hell. So, he got informations like that. And let me tell you something. Look at the face, the face during the gift presentation. Look at the face of Bellerin, the American
Peter Balloren, the American ambassador to Cameroon?
Look, the face was not even, there was no smile. But let me go directly to the question. Please, personally, I don't expect an immediate action. First, he has to do an evaluation of his visit. Just the fact that he did not go to Amazonia, it means there's problem. He recognizes that that side is a war zone and something must be done for America's presence to be felt in that area. But I don't think it will be that immediate. But for now, I appreciate the step that the American government, Donald Trump's government, is taking in resolving. I think we only just have to pray and pray that let this visit bring us the outcome that we expect, which is putting the Biafra government on a table and telling them what they are supposed to do.
Now, in the wake of that visit, we saw the reaction of Southern Cameroonians on social media. Some were insultive and that people should understand how diplomacy works. Like it or not, needless to throw tantrums on them, but to continue to say, we have a problem we want addressed. If you're just joining us, you are watching Activist Corner on ABC television, and I'm having as guests Achiri, Atanga, and Paul Nillong. Within the week too, we saw hate speech from politicians east of the Mongo, notably from Banda Kani, the former president of Manidem, who said that President Biya took an oath of office to eliminate all Southern Cameroonians so long as he's preserving the integrity of Cameroon. And we've been reading about from other people calling Southern Cameroonians rats. Some say we are dogs. Actually, how do you appreciate the reaction of people of French Cameroon vis-a-vis the way the government is handling the crisis and the hate speeches which seem to be taking center stage in the wake of the war on Southern Cameroon?
Well, it's unfortunate that we have beggars in the name of politicians in Cameroon. People like Banda Kani or whatever he calls himself. I really don't care what he says because he's a nobody, and I don't even, his words do not even affect 1 feet of what touches Amazonia. But to say the least, we have been hearing these words even from the governor, from the ministers, and so to me, it's not even new that there are politicians who always say these things. We always like to, let me compare it with other revolutions that they count, like in Sudan. It happened in Sudan when ministers in the working under Bashir, they were calling the South Sudanese all these type of names. I mean, calling them dogs, calling them pigs, calling them Christian, whatsoever. That they should eliminate them to keep their country united. And I even saw newspapers in Cameroon saying that even with the visit of Mr. Ntatibo, saying that he has come for a mission to fail. I mean, these things, they occur, they happen, but to me, what I want to say is that it gives us the right, it gives us the urge, it gives us, I mean, the power to say that we have not come this far to come and be fooled or fall apart because of one Banakani who talked like a madman in the desert. That's how I see him. When I watch him talk, he's like somebody who is not reasoning. It's like somebody who is mad in the desert, not speaking because something comes out of his throat to talk. He does talk. But unfortunately for him, we are taking note of all these things, and the time can come when we shall ask him these questions. History is a very stubborn thing. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, there are little things that count, and the time will come when these things will be asked to him, and he will not even find a place to hide himself. This generation is a generation that is not taking anything lightly. Everything that you say, it is, copied, maybe taped, and stored. Social media, it goes on social media and everybody sees it. The world sees it. And it also deepens our cry for, our separation, our independence, that these are people who We thought that we're brothers and sisters. Look at how a politician in that country is asking for our, I mean, they should extinguish us. That we should be eliminated. We are not human beings. That Mr. Biya should go as far as eliminating everybody. And of course, that is what he's doing. Because he knows that he has the backings of people like Banakani and the journalists, the French press, the Francophone press. Are they talking about the situation in Southern Cameroon? You hardly see anything about that. So, I mean,
situation, hate speech, but as you said, it occurs. And from what I get you say, the lesson we should draw is exploit such situations to say, hey, this is what they are doing to show that they had ill intentions and they really want to see all of us finish. The last go ahead.
We have to use such I mean, I don't want to call it small, but such communication as tools to show the world that these are the people that we thought were living as one in their normal slogans of one and indivisible. How can you say we are one and then you're asking for the elimination of a particular group of people because you want to restore a nation or whatsoever? So, us as activists, we have to exploit these things, inform the people the more, make it sound, let him also hear, let Mr. Barakani hear that we are not forcing to leave La Republic to Cameroon. Our time with them is up. 59 years or 60 years of slavery is over. Our time to go is now. So let them eliminate people in the Western region or whatsoever in order to maintain Paul Biya in power, because we know that he's in the presidential majority. So he is one of them, one of those who want Mr. Biya to maybe hear what he's saying and maybe give him an appointment. So in order for him to be heard, he has to go extreme by saying that people should be eliminated.
Okay. Now, the viewers to ground zero. But before that, we're going to discuss the All Southern Cameroon's People Conference bill for the 28th retreat of the month of March 2019. And Paul, how do you look at that conference, the euphoria, the criticisms about the upcoming conference? We get words like others saying those going to attend are enablers. There are others who are saying that no, we should go there and speak as a people. How do you assess so far the preparations? Let Paul express himself and then we'll come back to you, Achiri. Paul?
Enablers. All this BB grammar every day is for what? Enablers, contenders. We are on one spot every morning. Honorable people. Let me tell you something. It's an initiative for people with different vision, different notion of this struggle. We have federalists. We have even unionists, the ones who say, no, we don't want, let us remain. We are independentists. We are restorationists. If they gather, they must hear our voice. We must be there to tell them. If we have some international bodies that are going to be there, we have to come and tell them, look, self-determination is not a crime. When you shy away from meetings like that, they begin to look at you in a very suspicious way. They begin to think you have a terrorist agenda. No. When you present yourself in a very gentlemanly manner and you address your concern that we are here because of this, that we want the international community to understand that we have a right to our position. We cannot shy away from such. And are we going there? Is it a referendum? Is it a national debate or what? No. It is where we are going to lay our concern to whosoever is there. Now, we make our brothers of the federalist ideas, notion, to understand that no, we have gone past that stage. We are not, we cannot continue. We tried it for some years, it did not go. They carried us now to enslave, total enslavement. So please, I tell everybody, Don't listen to those who bring their words of enablers, their words of contenders. Please, it will not help us. It will not
Why? Every voice seems to count in this whole restoration quest. Now,
that voice will count in the appropriate quarters, not outside.
Now, I will be coming to you again on this issue. We know we are within the confines of or the context of the holding of the Ambazonia Stakeholder Strategic Conference for Germany, and both conferences seem to be taking stock of the entire revolution, even though the Ambazonia Stakeholder Strategic Conference seems to focus more on synchronizing the master plan for restoration, harmonizing diplomacy, and encouraging communication from the 11th to the 14th of the month of April 2019. I want to ask Achiri, we've been meeting and meeting. These two conferences, is something good going to come out of it, or it will just be a normal meeting from your own perspective? Achiri.
Let me pick it from you. You say we have been meeting and meeting. I don't care if we meet 1 million times. We will still meet. We need to talk. It's normal that people should have different shade of opinion. We certainly have the same goal, but people have different ways of thinking, which is very unfortunate though. It's going to be difficult for everybody to think the same. Of course, that is my wish that all of us should think the same, but people have different shades of opinion. Now, coming back to the issue of the outcome, I don't want to judge the outcome before the conference even holds. My point is that people should be allowed to meet. That's the same thing that happened with APNC. We were judging, fighting each other. The interim government would not want the APNC to meet. The APNC is looking at the interim government like a cat and dog or whatever. I think I wrote a post about that, and I said it was time for the interim government and those organizing the APNC to meet and talk before the conference. And of course, as CAF, we did our best to listen to both sides and try to mediate to see how they could talk before the conference, or what happened. Let us not go back into that. Now, let's talk about the upcoming conferences. To me, my expectation is that all Ambazonians should participate in those conferences. Now, whether you are a federalist, whether you are a unionist, whether you are an independent like myself, let us meet and talk. Let us convince each others. Let us talk and see if your point is more important. The most important thing is, how do we get our people out of this suffering? It is not about the diaspora fighting for left hand or right hand, or left leg or right leg. It's about how do we get our people back in Amazonia out of this. People are dying. People are suffering. Just yesterday, we saw the video of this young man whom I know very well personally, and his family. We saw his mom crying over his corpse. That was very heartbreaking. And people sit in diaspora, instead of trying to, put their heads together and see how we can get out of this, they're instead like dragging each other apart, saying things that, that not even matter. What is, if I'm a federalist, for instance, or I'm an independent, for instance, I go to a conference and I listen to what you say. If it doesn't please me, how would that change me from being an independent to a federalist? It's not going to change me. But if I've gotten the opportunity to listen to you, we cannot just shy away from everything and be suspicious of everyone. We cannot be suspecting everybody. Anytime somebody comes up with something, that person is an enabler. That person is being sponsored by La Republique. That person is a black leg. That we cannot be suspecting everybody, please. It is time. This is 2 years going, 3 years, except the leaders want to tell us. Let them come out openly and tell us that we are ready for the war to rage on for the next 50 or 30 years. If that's what they want, they should make it official. So we know that there's no need to holding conferences. Every time I read any document, we say, short-lived the struggle. Everybody is saying that now. If you want the struggle to be short-lived, how then do we keep fighting each other? We cannot, it's like we are telling the war instead, we are trying to woo the war. It's like, you want to get in Jumba, they tell Jumba, say, my house, war for my house. We are trying to woo the war. We are telling the war again that, oh, look, if you give us this thing, we are going to be fighting each other. It's unfortunate that our leaders cannot think this. I keep on saying that
You're mute.
What? So, Mr. Solomon, that's what I think.
Thanks. And a lot of discussion about the effect from that conference built for Berlin in Germany.
If I had my means, I'm going to attend the conference. I don't want to start suspecting people saying that because maybe people think that they are federalists or they are unionists or Ambazonia. I have insisted, like what Honorable Joa once said in Bamenda to Musonga, the Muslim Commission, that in every Ambazonia, with every Southern Cameroonian, there is that aspect of an independent Ambazonia. Whether you like it or not, it's just that some of them or those who are working for the government, they are afraid to come out and talk because they will be killed or they'll lose their jobs or whatsoever. They'll lose their positions because a new generation or a new breed of leaders have come up. But I understand, I know within me that we talk to some of the guys who work in the military. Some of them have fled. We talk to them. The point is, most of them are afraid. But I keep on saying that in every Amazonia, there is that aspect of all getting an independent Amazonia as a republic for ourselves. But not suspecting people. I mean, our leaders should get that out of their mind. It is not time for us to suspect A, B, C. Everybody who comes up with an idea is either we kill that person by, giving insult to that person, hitting him with bullets left and right, that we don't know. There's no need for that. Let us go to conference. We must talk. Ambazonians must talk among themselves, whether I would like it or not. And at the end, we must talk with the Republic. Whether I would like it or not, we will talk with them.
Now, actually, I want to add
yes,
something.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah. We must talk. Meeting for the right reason. It's not just meeting because we want to meet. There are meetings that we can gather to destroy. For example, look at APNC. There was where so many people were skeptical about their agenda. And at the end of the day, what was the outcome? They had just one agenda, one principle: to dismiss the president and the Secretary of the Secretary of State for Communication. That was their primary. Sorry, I have to say this.
I don't think that, because I don't think so.
Wait,
because we saw a resolution.
I am coming.
Right on.
I am coming. That was the main topic, because whatsoever they said never meant anything to the Amazonia people. But that particular issue carried 90% of criticism. So many people spoke against that too. That same agenda. So meeting Comrade Achiri is not the problem. But when we meet for the wrong reason, that is where there's a problem. Now, we are meeting to carry something, to give a push and not to break down. We know, yes, the interim government, they have their own schemes, they have their own small, but let the build up, let the auto-critique come from the right direction. And point of correction, Comrade Achiri, the interim government never said they should not, APNC should not hold. No. They
refused to come and attend.
No, but they asked for the endorsement. The cabinet said, no, we are not ready to endorse. Go ahead with your meeting. You have the right to meet. So let's not mix things. You have the right to meet. And they met. And what was the outcome of their resolution? Against that same people who want. So if they had endorsed, then you would have understood where we would be today.
Okay, Paul. So basically, we are moving towards the end of the program. We notice that both of you are insisting that if there is any meeting, the frontline leaders and the different movements should converge and continue to discuss. We should kill the mutual suspicion that exists, and we should know that the lives of those who are on the ground matters. And if the divisions persist, we're going to continue to fight the war longer than we expect.
Let me add something. Let me add
Yes,
something.
Achiri.
I know the Amazonia Governing Council, AGC is the ones calling others enablers and maybe boycotting the conferences. Now, it's just an advice to them that if you boycott a conference because others have called it, also know that one day you're going to call a conference and others will not come. So the division is going to continue. So they should also think about the future. Amazonia is not only about what you think, it's about what we think as a people, not only what we think as an individual. So an individual organization is unfortunate that they're not going for the conference, but I thought that was an opportunity for them to come to the conference and lay down what they think. It's a problem.
We still have days ahead, and we know.
Yes, we still have days ahead. I don't deny it. If we still have days ahead, we expect them to come back to their senses, because to me they're off their senses to be saying that.
It is funny. It is funny. Now we have some people in this revolution. They don't talk against La Republique.
Yeah, we have activists who get up in the morning, from morning to evening. All the talk is about, I mean, like market women. Let me not say market women, like, I mean, people who gossip, like, they keep on saying, oh, this person has done this, this person has done that. I mean, how is that helping to push the revolution? I keep on asking this question. So about the conferences, Mr. Solomon, I am still insisting that let Ambazonians meet and talk. So long as you have the right agenda, like Paul has said, let Ambazonians meet and then tell us what you think. Once you meet and you can present to us a way forward. All what we need is the way forward. If we can have the way forward on how we are going to push this revolution, that is, I mean, the aspect of getting a right agenda. Maybe I missed that aspect. And Paul, thank God, Paul brought it up. People should meet with the right agenda. People should.
I don't know whether my connection is still fine, but I'm getting you very, very well. Are you getting me? Okay. Yes. I'm trying to say we just have to appeal to all our brothers to always attend conferences, discuss with each other, because the struggle seems to have lasted for this number of years because we are unable to come to a consensus and have maybe 4 fronts: diplomacy, self-defense, maybe finances and communication to carry the struggle forward. Now, on to the last lap of this edition of the program. We're talking about happenings on Ground Zero. We've witnessed, we've seen burnt, allowing
I think I got your question, Mr. Solomon.
But
I think I got your question about
Achiri, before we go to Ground Zero, I would like to talk a bit about the Berlin conference.
Okay, you have 30 minutes or 30 seconds to do that, please. Paul, go ahead before we discuss the happenings on Ground Zero.
When you hear synchronizing, I don't like that word synchronizing because it is too big for the Amazonia people, especially those on Ground Zero. The simple thing is uniting. The master plan, uniting. I want the interim government wants to unite again in another bond, in another dimension with Ground Zero, to revive the master plan for restoration. It means now the level of understanding between Ground Zero and the interim government has to go into another dimension. They want to unite force in a different way. The old strategy maybe is not really going well, so we want to re-strategize. And we must unite this new strategy with Ground Zero. So please, every stakeholder is invited. Every Ambazonia is invited to this conference. It is very imperative. It is very necessary for a way forward. This is what we say, gathering for the right reason. We are gathering now to re-strategize. We are calling every Ambazonia to come. Let us look for a way forward. You people want to change. You said, no, you want change. Now is the time. We are calling every Ambazonia, the interim government is calling every Ambazonia to come and sit. If you want to talk all your grievances in the meeting, you will be open to you. There'll be time.
But I cannot always talk inside. I can talk outside. You cannot time me to talk inside.
Yes, your message is got outside will not bring result. Outside will either bring hatred or division. But inside.
Thank you, Mr. Solomon. I think the technical bench is telling me about my time. The technical bench is telling me about my time. You were talking about Ground Zero. Maybe before I say goodbye. We know about the happenings in Ground Zero. It's very unfortunate and very difficult for us as people who live in the diaspora that you go to bed with sorrow and get up in the morning with sorrow. So it's really touching seeing people being killed like flies. These are things that we hear in other nations, in other war-torn zones. We see our own people, our own family members, brothers and sisters being killed like flies. So it's really unfortunate. That said, the technical bench is telling me that my time is up and I will have to leave. So thank you very much for having me, Mr. Solomon, and sharing the bench with a brilliant mind like Paul, somebody that we've been working on the background for many things. I really appreciate that so much. And so, Paul, I want to leave you as the technical bench is telling me that my time is up. Thank you so much for having me, and I will come back in the next edition. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure having you, Achiri. I will be
getting this platform to
in the southern zone, house killings. Is it only a matter of, and most civilians have been killed?
Yeah. If I should get you well, the fun is that people don't have conscience again. This revolution has turned some people into beasts. People don't care.